Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Graveyard Shift. I don't know why every time I say that, all my brain thinks is the Monster Mash, the Monster Mash.
It's just gonna get progressively worse.
Literally, the more we do this, the more it's gonna go to the tune of like the Monster Mash, I swear to God. Um, which is, not a bad song for the time it came out. It's still chill. Um,
Mhm.
Sorry, it just made me think of Michael Jackson because there's so many underrated Michael Jackson songs that people don't know. Anyways, so because Monster Mash to Thriller to Michael Jackson, in case anybody didn't follow that leap of logic. Um,
Mhm.
but yes, you might be wondering, dear listener, why the fuck are there two boys on the screen right now? Um, so today's episode is going to be a very interesting one if you have no concept on what I'm about to talk about. Today's episode, at least for our free half here on the YouTubes and the Spotifys, is going to be covering boys love. That is the official term for the TV genre or the genre of film media, whatever you want to call it. Western audience would simply call it gay or LGBTQ, I think is the term that like Netflix and Hulu and stuff uses, which is
Mhm.
slightly different than what boys love is, and I'll get into that in a second. But yes, today's free episode is about boys love as a genre. And so you are going to hear me at least for an hour, possibly longer, depending on how long Gal lets me, uh, obsessify over men who will never know I exist. And that is a positive, not a negative, because then they'll never know I'm crazy for them. Because all of these I'm about to talk about and boys love as a genre only exists in non-Western, non-English speaking countries. Um,
Mhm.
so thankfully, I'll never meet them. They'll never know I'm real and I'm crazy because I don't even speak the language, let alone meet them in person and be in their country. Um, but yes, we'll get there. Gal, do you have any questions before I begin the long?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. I did not prepare a slideshow because I didn't feel like doing the work. And also I have very poor memory, so I have up the Wikipedia pages just for people's reference. Um, but I may remember things. If you have seen these shows, if you are a BL person, feel free to yell at me or tell me other things in the comments. I would love that very much. In fact, even if it's bad and you hate me, I'd love that. Um, but basically, the generalized idea here is obviously even in the US and even in Western countries, being gay and all that shit has been around for a long time and has been not allowed or criminalized or stigmatized for a long time. I don't need to go over that. We're all queer fuckers here. We're well aware. But even as progression was made, not only we as in the US and possibly other Western folks, we tend to think and see progress in terms of legality. Because the US does a lot with like laws and that's kind of all their shit. So there's a lot of like, oh, the era before gay marriage was legalized, and then the era after gay marriage was legalized. But in reality, there's way more nuance to all the shit that's happening, and the legalization is great and is a wonderful thing, but should not be like the point, right? When it's like, oh well, you got gay marriage, that's all you needed, check mark. um the reason why I'm talking about this before we get into boys love is because culturally it's going to be different over there in a couple of different countries that we're going to talk about. We're mainly going to focus on Thailand, but I have watched Korean boys love, I've watched Japanese boys love, I've watched Chinese boys love, etc., etc. Thai just does it better than anyone else. um
Hmm.
But so there's going to be some cultural differences, things that have changed, things that we might look at even back when these shows were made and go, ew, ooh, ooh, that over there were amazing and progressive and famous, right? It's like, and super, super great for the community. It's the same concept of like, you look back at our stuff, and you might, from a perspective, look at something like Rocky Horror, and you're like, we don't call people transvestites, not anymore. But you would never look at the character in Rocky Horror and be like, that is a bad portrayal of, you know what I mean?
I love Rocky Horror though.
Yeah, exactly, right? And there's other better examples. Rent is a good one, right? A lot of people in the gay community, I hate Rent, but not for this reason. A lot of people in the gay community love it. A lot of people in the LGBTQ community hate it because it holds a lot of the like stereotyped versions of the community. And things like that occur. So if you see that, or if I talk about that kind of stuff, just know that there's a grain of salt. The other grain of salt comes from, I'm a white, born in 99 American. So as much as I have learned about the other countries' cultures, especially the Asian cultures that these take place in, and are a part of, some of the stuff I say is probably going to be fully incorrect. So feel free to be like, actually incorrect. That's some bullshit you heard on Tumblr. I'm gonna be like, okay, cool.
Okay. I'm fact checking Rachel this whole time.
But I just wanted to put that out there, so in case anybody listens to this and they're like, oh, interesting, and all that jazz. So that will lead us directly into the name of the genre. So Rachel, you might say, why is it called boys' love? And also, yes, there is a girls' love, in case you're wondering. We won't dive into the shows, but they do exist. Why is it called boys' love? Why isn't it called gay or LGBTQ, as like Netflix and Hulu and stuff have genres like this? Well, because terminology, for one, that is English terminology. Boys' love is like English as well, but it's the same concept as like in Thailand, there are kind similar to transgender women. Over there, there is a group of people called ladyboys. It's just a translation thing. It's not like this is the term that is specific for this thing. Boys' love just means gay. It's just a translation thing. So that's why it's called that. However, it did originate in like Japan, and in Japanese like anime, you would refer to it as yaoi, which again, a lot of people have probably heard that term, which again just means gay. The reason why I'm calling these boys' love and not yaoi is because when Japan sort of originated it, in quotes, it was more like very heavily porn, basically, in simple terms. It was much more sexualized. Boys' love has bracketed off from that to where it is like the PG version, or the PG-13 sometimes, if they allow them, of yaoi. So yaoi is now the term for like, there will be nudity and stuff in this, and there will be like sexualized things, and boys' love is the term for like, there will not be. So that's where we get boys' love.
They're just romancing.
Literally, it's gay romance. Also, to follow it up, even though boys' love and like gay is the same thing, I would not say that these are like gay as the genre. Like, I would not put this, you could put it under LGBTQ on like a platform, but I would not consider it the same category. Boys' love is its own genre because also origins from yaoi, which, to be fair, not all yaoi was this, but there was a branching point when yaoi and then subsequently boys' love, when it started to become more popular, it stopped being gay men for gay men, And when it started taking out the sexualized nature, it started becoming gay men for women.
Mm.
Which is the big controversial point that a lot of people are like, sometimes this feels fetishized, which is fair. There's a lot of boys love, there's a lot of yaoi out there that very clearly is like women fetishizing it. Totally can
Mhm.
acknowledge that. The ones we're going to talk about today,
Men written by women.
literally, it's so funny because, and Girls Love is not that, which we can talk about a little bit, but it's funny that there is that origin point for Boys Love where it's like these are two gay boys for women, specifically directed to women. It's not meant for gay men to enjoy, etc., etc. It's funny that that's like a thing that occurs and was a big like stepping stone for the genre and a big original point for it to be from, because if you were to flip it and be like, well, are there gay ladies for men? The answer is
Yes.
yes. It's just, once again, it's
Les-
porn.
the
Like,
amount of lesbian porn there is for specifically tailored towards men is a lot.
exactly, right? And so that's the thing is, and here's the interesting point, and again, this might sound sexist, I don't give a fuck. If you think of lesbian shit, well, is lesbian shit for men? Porn. When was gay shit for men? Porn. Both of them are in the porn origins. And then Boys Love turned into a thing for women by taking that aspect out, which I find hysterical. But anyways, probably already gonna get flagged on YouTube. It's fine. I don't make AdSense or any money, so it's good. But now we'll go further into it. So, the one you're seeing on your screen now, I'm gonna talk about 3 Thai BLs. Which BL is the short term. There are South Korean ones, there are Japanese ones. Personally, I think Thai does it the best, because they just Bangkok specifically, but Thailand is much more open with the LGBTQ community that they have. Actually, I think last week or a few days ago, gay marriage just fully legalized, like went into law in Thailand.
As a
Um,
good
I
job,
saw,
Thailand.
yeah, good job, Thailand. Huge job, Thailand. And South Korea and Japan and China, especially, we won't even go there. But South Korea and Japan, places that we think of as more like modern culture, still have very big stigmatizations against gay shit. In Thailand, does, but the culture is so far progressive that mainstream media is like also progressive in a way that a lot of other, like some South Korean and a lot of Japanese stuff is not. And so talking about some of these shows, it's very possible that like you're not necessarily going to meet like an everyday person who's seen it in Thailand, but it's going to be much more like, oh yeah, I've seen that. That was on like our version of Channel 5. Like, so it's more that versus you had to go searching. So the one you're looking at the screen is called SOTUS. SOTUS is not a word on our side. It stands for basically. I'm not gonna give you the whole acronym because God, if I remember it. So there is a very huge trend that did start with Japanese stuff where all of the BL is too fresh into, I'm going to use the term university so that no one gets confused with college, but it does mean college. So like 18, 19, freshman, sophomore aged kids in university. That is 99% of the time. Japan is usually high school aged folks, but when it started transitioning into BL in South Korea and Thailand and stuff, you will still find high school stuff, which, just to be clear, is tailored like tastefully. It's not meant to be high schoolers. Oh, that's, like adult to high school. No. It is meant to be like high school for a high schooler. Anyways, usually it's people in school because the best dramas are motherfuckers in school. And so the classic setting is two university students, and there are some very specific stereotypes and tropes that, like, literally every single BL you ever watch, until maybe the one I will talk about that came out last year, will do this. University is usually the setting, not always, but 90% of the time. The two love interests are exact opposite stereotyped personalities. So one of them will always be like I'm the cool guy and I don't show emotions, and ugh, you're so stupid, and I'm the, like, that version. Like, not quite a bad boy, but if you could probably tell looking at this picture, that's the guy in front. Right? They give him the stern face. They give him like the whatever type of energy. Like he's in charge. And I'm gonna use this terminology. Usually what it is, because this is how original gay shit was perceived, one of them ends up being, in quotes, the man. I'm gonna say masculine. And in quotes, the other one is the woman. I'm gonna say feminine. So whoever, thank God they've somewhat moved away from looks and now they just do two big beefy men. But it used to be whoever looks more masculine will be the masculine character, and that stereotype personality is always the one I just talked about. And then the feminine lead would be the one who's like a bit more flirty, a bit pushy, a bit like emotional, and that kind of thing. And so there'll always be those two stereotypes, and there'll always be opposites of each other, and they're always the love interest. Now, SOTUS is the originator, not the originator, but it's like one of the most popular original staples of this industry for Thai BL specifically. And kind of for a lot of BL, but for Thai BL specifically. So there's a couple different reasons. One is because although they have all of the stereotypes, which there are more, we'll get there, they have a plot line that when the boys are like, uh-oh, I like my mortal enemy, this other dude, the result isn't immediately, uh-oh, it's a guy. SOTUS is one of and then this show came out in like 2017. It's one of the branching points for it. They made it very specifically, it did not matter in the universe that they exist in that the love interest was the same gender. A lot of BL and a lot of yaoi and gay stuff, there are some that didn't do it, but a lot of them, because gay shit was not liked, was friends or family members or themselves being like, oh no, I am gay. And so SOTUS was like one of the big boy network shows to be like, nope, that's not a plotline. We're not doing that. Absolutely not. There are no friends, there are no family, and even them themselves don't give a fuck that they're gay. One of the most famous lines was, now, that said, it wasn't like, we don't care. The famous line, and this will tell you how, like, of a transition point it was. The famous line that he says is, something to the equivalent of, and I watch English subtitles, obviously, something to the equivalent of, I don't like men, I like him. So, so,
yeah, fair enough, I guess.
So yeah. So like I said, that being the line I just said, you can imagine, even though we would look at them and go, okay, that's a little oof, pulling my collar there. I don't know how I like that representing the community. When this aired, was like, oh my God, that's crazy. Like, it was really like, wow, that's amazing that he would say that and not just be like, I'm sorry, I like boys.
It's like I'm straight, but
Exactly.
Yeah.
100% that's what it was. But at the time, but it was great. It was great for what it was. And it was like somewhat revolutionary. And you might be thinking, well, didn't other shows do this? Yes, but remember how I said Thailand's are more mainstream than other things like the South Korean ones and the Japanese ones? So the thing is, this show, and I will double check on my Wikipedia page, but I'm almost 1,000,000% sure. Here, I'll pull it up right now. Dun, 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 dun. I have the Wikipedia pages up, folks, because I have shitty memory, and y'all know that. And I watched this show a long time ago. For the record, I didn't watch it in 2017. I watched it, like, I don't know, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that.
In COVID.
Yes.
COVID
Yeah,
times.
literally COVID times. Okay, so I am correct in saying this. Fuck, it did the thing again. Okay, cool. Now come back. Hold on. I don't know why anybody would be watching this. It's just a screen of two boys. Okay. So, so when I say mainstream, the producer for this show and the other two that I'm going to talk about is GMMTV. That is almost the equivalent of me saying to you that this show aired on Lifetime or aired on Hallmark. That is their...
Gotcha.
Yeah. So when I say mainstream, I'm not talking like, oh, Crunchyroll, which is like big and popular. But that's where you go to find anime, right? This is not like you go to GMMTV. Well, nowadays you do. They did make a lot of boys love content, but they are like the player. They are probably the highest, and especially at this time, the biggest name in this genre, and made sorry, I'm gay, I'm allowed to say that, made the average person's show. This would air side by side with a regular straight drama that was super popular to the masses, like side by side to Squid Game or whatever the fuck you want to say. So this being on there is why this kind of shit is so revolutionary, is because GMMTV was like, what do you mean? This is just another genre. So really cool. And this is why we talk about sodas. So, another big thing in a lot of Asian cultures, if you are an idol fan, like if you like K-pop or J-pop, you will know about idols. For those who don't know, Gal, do you know anything about idols?
Yeah, I know a decent bit about idols. I'm not an idol fan myself, but I know what they are.
Okay, you know the concept.
Yeah.
Okay. So for those who don't know the concept, think regular pop star like we have, except they have like training programs and stuff to literally learn it as a career, and then the company sends you places to try and get your group. Like they'll pair you up like Simon Cowell with One Direction. They'll be like, okay, these are your teammates. You are now this band. You sing this kind of music. Here's the songs you're gonna sing. You record them. Now you go perform them where we send you. It's a whole like company. The thing is, in Asian cultures with those idols, there is a very dangerous and trying to be pushed back against and changed slowly. Idolization. Idolization.
Ba-dum-bum.
Tish. There's a very dangerous mentality of access to these people. And this is a thing for a lot of stars in Asian cultures. There's a huge record of like suicides and depression and stuff among idol communities, among regular actors, because of all of the bad work environment stuff. And that goes into BLs and shows like this as well. Specifically, the big thing that is hard for Western folks to understand is in those cultures, they are seen as like they're people, they're humans, but it's almost as they are seen as their characters. So anytime they are in a public facing environment, they are the character. Again, with idols, there's not quite a character, but there kind of is.
Like personas and stuff.
Yes. And for actors, the anything that goes more mainstream Western tends to be fine, but BL falls into this idol territory because one of the stereotypes of the main leads is one of them has to be a singer. And will always sing a whole ass song that they do not translate to English, just to let you know. So you have to sit there for 4 whole minutes and just let a Thai song be sung. But anyways, there's usually a singer in there, and for BL, they market the way that they market BL is as the actors are a group. So I think the only way I can explain this the best is just to explain it. The 2 you see on the screen, I know these actors' names, which I don't know any actors' names, because that's the way that these shows market. So the one on your left is Singto, and the one on your right is Christ with a T. Why do I know Singto Christ? Because when they air you, when GMMTV goes, hey, we have a new boys love show, they're not promoting the title of the show. They're not promoting the plot of the show. They're not even giving you trailers. The first thing they'll say is, we have a new boys love show with your duo Singto Christ. Or Christ Singto. So people are there for these 2 specifically. And anytime they'll sign like a contract that says like they literally will market themselves with their ship name. Like, that's how it goes. If it's a meet and greet, it's a Christ Singto meet and greet. If they're in a boys love show, they have to be the leads paired together. Like, there is no, you are essentially the same way idols are training with a company and getting told you are a part of, here's your brand name, here's your songs, here's your group. Everywhere you go, you are this now. When you, unlike Western acting, when you sign up to, or get the role in quotes, to be the leads of a BL, you are not signing up as, cool, I got the lead for this character, I'm going to play this role, sign a contract for the 2 seasons, and then go take another role. No. You and the person you are a lead across from are essentially signing a contract that is in the public eye for as long as you are working with our company. You are no longer you. You are you 2 together. That's it.
You have tied your souls, and now you have sold them together.
Correct. Literally. To the point where, like, they are not allowed to say, if they're married, if they're dating, they're not allowed to say. They're not allowed to have pictures of their partners, female, male. They're not allowed to discuss it. When they do interviews, it has to be like interviewers will literally be like, oh, did you guys go on a date yesterday? And they'll be like, yeah, we did whatever. And they're not dating. They're not. That's who they are. It's really, really weird from a Western perspective because we have always treated an actor as an actor. Doesn't mean we're respectful of them or to their privacy. But we've always been like, this is the actor, this is the character. Like when we do interviews and someone goes on fucking not Saturday Night Live, Jimmy Fallon or whatever the fuck it is, they don't go on and the person isn't like, so Thanos, how did you feel about like snapping the world? And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's hard to translate, but it's something that you have to know because to this day, it still operates this way. And there is some, like pushback. There's very, very slow mentality of the fandom trying to come in, like people that are trying to come in and be a part of this and say, hey, it's okay if they want to market themselves this way. If it's part of the contract, whatever, we need to give them respect. Like if you find out that an actor is married to a woman, you don't just jump on her page and be like, how dare you have married this man 7 years ago? He will forever be a couple with such and such. Like, so it's slowly changing.
How dare you have a relationship before this character existed?
Literally.
You should be ashamed of yourself. Didn't you know that your husband was going to be a gay lover to, this other dude who's also married? How fucking dare you?
Literally. So there's slow change, but it is a very, very big point of the genre. And they are heavily tied together. And again, it's there's ways that it could be done with respect. So it's a weird thing. But anyways, so this is Singto Chris. I'm saying Singto Chris. It's really Chris Singto, but it's Singto's on the left. Anyways, so their show, super popular, mainstream GMM TV. Everybody loves it. Does the whole thing with, oh, nobody cares that we're gay, etc., etc. All BLs, well, there is a more horny BL like side that Ty does do, but for the most part, all BLs are it's not a long con. What is it called? A slow burn. Yeah. All BLs are a slow burn. To the point where I swear to God, I don't think Sodas probably fucking even like held hands or fucking touched each other until probably like 3 seasons in, and then it was done. Like they're all slow burns. However, when I say slow burn, I mean like rom-com slow burn. Because most BLs are rom-coms. Some of the other stereotypes that are in BLs. Sodus is like, I can give you a bunch because Sodus has a bunch of the ones because it's one of the older ones. There are always, this actually just happens in most Thai shows. I think it might specifically just be a Thai thing. I want to be clear about this here. Okay. I might be wrong, but I think it might specifically be a Thai thing. There are 2 things that I think Western audience would find weird in Thai shows, and I'll say Thai BL for now. The first is, even though I'm like GMM TV is like mainstream, like all this kind of jazz, it is, but when I say that, I don't like, it is basically shot on a phone camera with a phone camera's microphone. Which to us is weird because we're like, everybody, even people with iPhones, you know, like super high quality, whatever. And if you don't have the best 920 80p and the fucking Newman X6 microphone, then you make bad content, which categorically false, but whatever. That's the way we see shit. Not how it works over there. Sodus is an example of it. Other shows are an example of it. There are full ass scenes that you will barely be able to hear because they're just outside in an actual market with actual people, and and the other people are just selling their shit on like just normal people, and you're like, what? Huh? What? Like,
right?
And it's fantastic.
Imagine how much they saved, though, to just film in an actual crowded area.
Like, I love it. It turns a lot of people off. I love any level of creating things. I have been trying, because I have that mindset drilled into me of like, if it's not the best of the best, like the perfectionism, and I try to break that down every day, and Thai BL is one way that I can break that stigma down in my head. So I love when it's not the highest quality content, because I'm like, this went out on fucking AAA platforms and people love it and support it and pay money for merch and shit. And it's this quality. So, love that. That's a lot of Thai BL. A lot. And I think it's a lot of Thai shows in general. The other thing that drives people crazy, which is so funny to me, people will complain about brand deals and marketing in like Western movies and stuff, right? Like, you'll see a fucking Mountain Dew or whatever in like the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, and people will be like, oh, fucking product placement. Honey, if you can barely stand the fact that there is a logo present in 3 seconds of a Sonic movie or whatever it is, you would never be able to sit through 2 seconds of a Thai show. Because it is not just, oh, there's a logo present. It is not even, oh, we said the brand name. There are entire 10 to 15 minute scenes with commercial product shots of the actors' hands opening the bottles and spinning it around and looking at the other characters and going, boy, I sure do love an ice cold Diet Pepsi. And then there's like a shot of it flowing over the ice like it's a fucking restaurant. And then he drinks it and he's like, do you want one, babe? And then he dramatically pours one out for him. And the other guy goes, no, I already have one. And then pulls one out of his fucking bag. Like, whole ass
Only
scenes.
here. So
Literally.
cool and refreshing.
Literally, it's always two things. The two things that get marketed this way are those like flavor packets that we pour into water? Huge thing over there. So it's always that. So the equivalent of what I just said with like the pop, except it's that. It'd always be, do you want orange zest or sparkling limeade, babe? Like, it's my favorite thing on the planet. And again, I'm not kidding. 15 full minutes of shit like this. And the other one that is super famous, specifically for Thai BL, because there's some cultural things here, is like not makeup wipes, but like face wipes, like facial routine, skin routine stuff. Because there's a big thing where like part of the romance stuff and the couple stuff in Thailand just in general is the idea of feeding your partner, which is the whole thing with the drinks and the food. And then the other half is like tending to your partner. So if you're doing a show where like there's CIA agents or something, and one of them is always gonna end up with the smallest of injuries that you could put a band-aid over. But you know that it's gonna happen because the next scene will be the partner walking in with some like, don't worry, babe, I'll clean your wound, with like fucking, what, give me a brand. Fucking Neutrogena wound wipes or whatever the fuck it is. Like
like for like Johnson and Johnson fucking first aid spray, or fucking Band-Aid is a brand technically.
Literally, that is literally what will happen. Not a joke. And so like there's always a scene where they love to sit on beds. They love to no clothes off, all the sheets on. They love to just sit down next to each other on beds. And one of them will be like he'll be like washing his face with this wipe, and the other one will come over and be like, let me do that for you, babe, and then just wipe his face. And then there'll be a moment when they make eye contact and he stops wiping, and they won't be like, don't waste that Neutrogena product, and like put it on his face. This is just shit that happens, and I love it. I don't skip them ever, because there's some of them, they specifically and purposefully in Thai BL will make these scenes the most sensual because they want you to watch. So it's always them touching each other appropriately, and like feeding each other and like lap. It's so funny. Love it, love it, love it. But yes, those are a lot of stereotypes. SOTUS is really cool. Anyways, it's university stuff. It's classic, we hate each other. Chris, the one in the front, his character's the aloof one. Singto's is like the like the guy who's going into university. He's the freshman. Chris is the senior, and they're engineering students. So there are a lot of Thai themed shows because in Thailand, engineering is a huge degree. And so they're both like engineering students. And there's also a culture of like, we would call it hazing. There is a big culture of hazing in Thailand specifically. I can't speak to the other Asian areas. So SOTUS is one of the rare, very rare BLs, I would argue rare Asian shows in general, but very rare BLs who actually got a second series. I don't mean second season, I mean second series. So there's
Nice.
SOTUS and there's SOTUS S, because they don't really do multiple seasons. So even SOTUS has like one season. It's just like 30 something episodes. And so season 2, or SOTUS S, series 2, season 2, it's very, very rare. And that one, the first one kind of deals with it. But they both deal with the concept of like, hey, maybe hazing is bad.
Mhm.
um, because obviously Christ is like the older one and is like, I am your senior, and you gotta follow all our orders and do everything we say. And if you don't do it, we're gonna make you do push ups and take all your clothes off and jump in a lake and that kind of shit.
It's yeah.
um, and Singto is like, oh my god, I hate this, but actually, um, and then of course when they start to like each other, then Christ is like, oh, I don't want to be mean to you. Maybe this hazing thing is bad. Um,
Oh no, who would have thought?
literally. So that's kind of their plot. You'll notice I'm not going into the plot too much because it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Literally, if you ever go to watch a BL or a GL or whatever, the plot's not gonna matter. You just pick one that has cute protagonists, like genuinely. So that's Sodas and Sodas S.
Okay.
Let me pull up. Wrong one. You see this one. This is another picture. So they always, this is what I'm talking about when I say like the standoffish one that's very like, of that,
Mhm.
like we can't even tell people that we're boyfriends because blah. And then this is what I mean when I say like the other one is very like lovey-dovey and like in
Mhm.
love. There are always these two types. There's always the one that's in love and playful and poking, and there's always the one that doesn't want it. This is just how the culture works.
Mhm.
Just how it goes. So this is another cute picture of them where that occurs. Now, this is Bad Buddy. And I'll make sure the OBS people can still see it. Let's see. Cool. So,
Mhm.
full disclosure, we're not going to get through Bad Buddy in however much time we have left because Bad Buddy's my fucking favorite. Um to the point where my phone screensaver is a picture from Bad Buddy.
Okay.
Bad Buddy, this is my favorite BL that I've ever seen. It's one of my favorite shows that I've ever seen. I love it very, very much. The plot of Bad Buddy is Romeo and Juliet if instead of Romeo and Juliet it was the two guys that fought for them and died on the battlefield.
Mm.
I don't remember their names. It's like Tybalt and something, I think.
Yeah.
Um, so it's fantastic. This is a show that came out in 2021. Like all other BLs, there's one season. Um, and it has never been touched since. The couple for this show is Ohm Nanon. So Ohm, OHM, is the guy on the left. Nanon, Nahnon, Non, yeah, is the guy on the right. And this does an interesting thing where basically their families hate each other, right? They're warring families, have been all their lives, and these two are in like university or whatever. I'm assuming it's a university. I don't think they're high schoolers. Um, I will double check, but I think it's university. Dun, 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 dun. Do you have any questions while I double check?
No, I see, like, I instead of watching it, I would read a lot of BL stuff.
Mm.
So I'm good.
Yeah, that's fair. Um, yeah, okay. So, all right. So this is exactly what I thought. Um, if we think back to the stereotypes I just gave 5 minutes ago, guess what?
Hmm.
Um,
Same
they're
thing.
they're engineering university students.
Oh my god, how would I have ever guessed that?
Who would know, right? Um, so yes, they're engineering university students. Um, well, I think one's engineering and one's some other civics or whatever the fuck it is. But they're like rival departments. Like they're rival families and they have rival friend groups. And I think like the first scene we see them is like one fucker beating up some other dude or some shit. So what's funny is This is a show that I is one of my favorites, but is also loved and really highly regarded because it switches up a lot of the normal tropes that had been happening since Sodus and a little bit before. Um,
Mhm.
it starts with that classic concept of like, of course, we're in university and someone's an engineering student, blah 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 blah, and one of them is the, the cold whatever one, and one of them is the overbearing one, and you can guess who by the picture. But it also isn't that, because I'm pretty sure if I remember right, Ohm on the left is the one that's like a football or whatever their game is over there. He's like the
Mhm.
sport guy. So he's like the traditionally masculine one who, in theory, aligning with our stereotypes, should be the standoffish one. Um, and Nanon on the right is the singer who gets the music shot or whatever, and the more like traditionally smart and emotional one. And this is where I'll chime in, because I definitely didn't say anything about this before, where Nanon was a like traditional dramatic actor. And so when they brought him into this, people were like, "Oh, fuck." And all of a sudden the real emotional scenes where people had to like be sad and cry, they were like, I
Mhm.
swear to God, Nanon barely is ever not crying in this show. Um because they went, "Oh, we have like a traditional actor who can actually cry and actually be dramatic." And so it was really cool. No hate to any other actors in the BLs and stuff, but you didn't necessarily need to be able to do that to do other BLs. Um,
Mhm.
and so this show has a lot of love in the community because there are some hard hitters in here. Like there's some hella topics that they go through. There's the concept of uh like, well, how do we be together if our families literally are like, we'll disown you if you ever fucking talk to that bitch. Like they go back in the closet. Like there's a lot of shit. And they
Mm.
do an excellent job being like sad and emotional and realistic. Um which was really cool to have that be in a BL like this. Also, there is usually a turning point where one of the two in a BL couple will realize, uh-oh, I like the other bitch. Um,
Mm.
in that there and then either relatively the same time or a little bit after, the other one will realize, uh-oh, I like this bitch. Um, but what happens is, and the way you know who stereotyped as who, usually is the one that's going to be the traditional masculine will be the one that goes, "No, I don't fucking like this guy. I swear I don't like this guy." And then anytime he has like a scene by himself, or we're supposed to watch specifically his reaction and, put on the blinders to be like, nobody else sees this. Um, it'll be like a little smile, and then he'll give like a type of territory. Um,
Mhm.
and then the one that's supposed to be like the playful one, the goaty one, the feminine one, will have the hard fall, where we'll get like a whole scene of them by themselves being like, "Oh no." Like,
Shit.
"Oh, uh-oh." Versus the standoffish one is usually a scene with other people and we just get like their internal stuff. Um
Mhm.
in this though, Ohm starts out, the guy on the left, as like the traditionally masculine, but when they both have a moment of like, so Nanon, the feminine one, which is usually how this occurs, is straight up like has a whole episode where, in the very like beginning, where you learn that he's like, "Nah, I've liked this bitch for like fucking years." Um,
Mhm.
and we're like, "Oh, that's interesting." We're coming into this where there's already a dynamic. That usually
Mhm.
doesn't happen. Usually we are here for the start to the end. And so we're like, "Oh, interesting. Okay. All right." Now no one's a little in this about it. And the reason why we have that is kind of interesting. So we're like, "Okay, all right, Nanone's got this little bit of like a well, he liked that bitch." But he's very like he tries to avoid Ohm because obviously their parents are deathly hateful of each other. And so even their friend group is like, no, we hate that bitch. We're behind you, right? Each of their friend group. And
Uh-huh.
so they're avoiding each other until, for whatever reason, they're forced to be in contact with each other. And then Noan is very like, uh-oh, oh no, I need to, like, put all the blinders on. Don't talk to this boy. Ohm is the one who's like, I don't care about this kid. The guy on the left, who's the traditionally masculine. All right, okay, this makes sense. He doesn't care about him. He hates him, just like his family does, whatever. As they are forced to spend time to each other, we've realized as Ohm realizes that he's like, I think I like this guy. I think I like this guy. And it's real cute and it's real soft and it's real adorable. And the culmination, which there's usually a big culmination episode in all BLs where they both tell each other that they like each other. Because I don't know if this happens in rom-coms for Westerns. I genuinely don't fucking watch them. But in BL, usually what happens is they do like they do slow-mo scenes. Like when you think of like, oh no, I slipped and fell. Oh no, I'm going to fall into your arms. But
Mm-hmm.
it's that slow mode. And then when they fall into like the other person's arm and the other person catches them, they'll literally start playing like romantic flowery music as they slowly look into each other's eyes, and then it'll go wah, 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 with like a record scratch, and they'll both go right, and like get up and be like, oh, I didn't fall, don't touch me. um
Mm-hmm.
it is the most stereotyped like out of a cartoon you can think of. And I
Yeah.
love it. I fucking adore it. Not everybody's shit, but that's how the scenes go. And so we'll get a bunch of that. Usually you get a bunch of that for quite a few episodes. Depends on the BL, sometimes up to half the show. Thankfully, this one, not that much. You'll get it for a little while where that's occurring. And basically, we are with both of them in their slow mo, oopsie doopie romantic moment. Like, what are they called? They're not called setups. Fuck. Oh no, there's a term for it. I know there's listen, I'm a secret romance enjoyer. I know there's a term. I know that. Oh my god, what are they called? Meet
Explain
cutes?
it better.
Meet cutes. I think that's the term. I think it's meet cute. When it's like, yeah, when it's like that classic thing of like, I bought a coffee and then he turns around and the girl bumps into him and then the coffee spills everywhere and she's like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." Like, or
Oh.
the meet cutes. It's basically meet cute every time
Ah,
the love
yes,
and
meat cubes.
yeah. Meet cubes. I love it. um those scenes are happening in a BL every single second the love interests are on screen until they confess, because that's the whole point. And so you'll have that build up until you get to the confession moment. And this show, the confession moment is like so hailed and memorable to the community of BLs. It's literally I think what put this show on like the top territory and the top of the map is the confession moment. We have been following both of them a little bit, right? And there's this concept of like Ohm is supposed to be the standoffish one, and we're following him as he's like, oh, I think I like this boy. And we get to the confession moment where he's like, I'm gonna go tell Nanon. Like Nanon's on the roof watching the stars because of course he fucking is. And I'm gonna go up there and I'm gonna, because they're in like dormitories right across the hall from each other. It's fucking adorable. Literally like open the door, the other guy's dorm. Anyways, so he's like, I'm gonna go upstairs. I know he goes up there on the roof. I'm gonna go confess to him. I'm so like excited and elated. I've never felt this way. Oh my god, I gotta go tell him that I like this bitch and I don't hate him the way my family hates him. So he goes up there to do that and we follow him. We're with him. We're like, oh my god, finally, like they're gonna get the confession moment and they're gonna be together and shit. And Ohm is so excited. And we get that. And Ohm gets
Oh.
to tell all his feelings and he's so excited. He's so cute. And then it like pans to Nanon and Nanon is just like bawling his motherfucking eyes out. And he's like, bitch, I have loved you for literal fucking years. Like,
Took you long enough.
literally, he's like, bitch, I have loved you for years, and my answer is fucking no. And everybody's like, what?
What?
What? What? Literally, Ohm and the audience are saying, they're like, excuse me? What? Like, I swear to God, everybody in their right minds fucking lost it that day. And this is what put him on the map, because I have a visual memory of, like, I don't know if it was raining or if it was just, Nano was sobbing so much.
It was raining to you. It was a
raining
sad
to me.
day.
It was a sad day. Because he literally was like, I have loved you for fucking years. Absolutely not will I be your, like, boyfriend, or will I date you, because literally our parents will fucking kill us, our friends will fucking kill us, and I have spent years mourning the fact that we can never be friends, let alone together. You don't get to just show up now and say, I'm willing to throw all of our lives away because you all of the sudden like me. And it was crazy because that shit didn't happen in BLs. It just didn't happen. There was, tension. There's plenty of BLs where the other person's like, I'm scared, or I don't want to do this, or whatever, and they don't get together. There has never been a moment, maybe there has, but whatever, never been a scene where one of them is so like, I love you, like, I figured it out, I'm all about this, let's try this, and the other one is like, fuck you for feeling that way. There's never been like that. And so that put everybody went, oh yeah. Invested. And then the rest of the show is their dynamic in the concept of they both know they like each other romantically, but they have families and whole ass friend groups who would literally fucking disown them or tell them they're being brainwashed or whatever if anyone finds out. So it's called Bad Buddy, but essentially, maybe a more accurate title is like Secret Buddy, because what happens is, after that moment, there's this really cool like thing where we get more meet cutes. And this time, the meet cutes, unlike what happens for the first section of a BL, because usually after you have a confession, it's no longer meet cutes, it's cute couple moments. Well, we can't have that. So now what we're getting is cute couple moments, but secretly? And I don't mean like, oh, they go off in secret when nobody's there and we get cute couple moments. I mean, we're essentially still getting meet cutes, but where both of them have to be like, like, and all the public is around. So there will be scenes where it's like, oh, they have to work together for a project. And, Ohm, who is the guy who was like, no, I want to do this, I'll throw away everything to be with you, will do shit where he's like, I'll work with Nanon. And then everybody's like, what the fuck? And Nanon's like, no, I will not work with him. or Ohm will be like, here, I brought you this. There's a big thing in Thailand, which is milk, like strawberry milk tea, strawberry milk. And remember, feeding people is a big thing, for like romantic couples and stuff. So there will be scenes when it's like, okay, we have to like go out and do like a work dinner. And fucking Ohm will be like, you need to eat more. And just put more food on Nano's plate. And everybody will be like, what the fuck? And Nano will be like, shut the fuck up. What the fuck? And he'll be like, oh, well, I can eat more than you, to try and disguise. There's like rival battle. Or Ohm will come in and be like, I got you strawberry milk. And Nano will be like, nobody fucking knows that strawberry milk is my favorite thing. Go fucking put it back. Like, so.
Stop being gay, more.
literally, he's like, stop being fucking gay. And it's, but you also, in that moment, you'll also get the cute like camera nods where we see Nano and be like, okay, I actually like this, but I don't. And so it's really, really fun dynamic where And this show makes it very clear, just so we're on the same page. The show makes it very clear that it has nothing to do with them being gay, why the family won't agree. In fact, they have literal separate family scenes at the dinner tables where both families say to their son, say to the lead interest, I don't care who you date or what gender, as long as it's not insert other lead character because we hate them.
Like, bruh,
Literally.
you
So
really picked the wrong person to love.
literally. So we as an audience don't feel weird about it because it doesn't feel like, because I personally don't care for like the in the closet secret relationship style. But we as the audience have already had it established that that is not why they're doing it. So we can enjoy in the fun of them doing a
Mhm.
little shit like this. And it adds even more fun because the traditional like masculine one, which was Ohm, who was standoffish in the beginning, actually has the playful personality that's usually given to the feminine stereotype, because Ohm is the one who's like, let me carry you if you're tired, and I'm getting you strawberry milk and that kind of stuff. And Nanon is the one who's like, shut the hell up, I'm gonna fucking beat your ass. And so it's really cool to see those dynamics flipped on their head out of the people you don't expect them from. Which
Mhm.
that made it super fun to watch. And then of course, what makes it even better is this show is so brilliantly written. And I'm saying that as somebody who had translations, like subtitles.
Mhm.
So I can't even tell you the original, but from the translations, it's so beautifully written because of course there comes a point where Ohm and Nanon are like Nanon is like, Ohm is like, I can't do this anymore, and Nanon's like, well, what the fuck are we gonna do? Because maybe we should just like not be friends or whatever, right? And
Mhm.
there comes a point where eventually, like the friends and stuff start to realize, and they're like, I think it's Ohm's friends first, if I remember right. Um, because Ohm's like the older one, and so they essentially go to him, and they're basically like, my dude, in the most platonically bro way we can say this, go get the dick. Like,
Yeah.
they're like,
Get that D, son.
literally, they're like, you are like the head of our squad. You are the leader. We have your back in everything. If you decide that this feud between families is not happening and you want to love that boy, we will be behind you, and we will not let anybody stand in your way. And it's beautiful, and everybody, the audience is like, oh my god, yes. And so it kind of gets sussed out. And then Nanon's friends somewhat come around as well. There's one in particular of Nanon's friends that like just doesn't get told because he's so viscerally like hates the other side type of energy. And so there's
Mhm.
drama with that when he does find out, where he's like, how fuck, what did they brainwash you, some shit, and like beats other people up, etc. Um, but eventually they do get together, and they like are in a relationship publicly to everybody but their family. Um, Essentially. And both, friend groups, while they don't like each other, are kind of starting to get along, and they're like, you know what? If my homie wants to kiss your homie, I guess we're friends. Like,
I
and
mean,
so
fuck it, I guess.
literally, and so they start getting along with each other, because our two leads love each other, and to the point. Ooh, I'm talking about my boys. Okay, to the point where they both friend groups are basically like, listen, what, like, we will never say jack shit to your parents. In fact, we will tell them you have pretty little girlfriends. Like, so that becomes a great dynamic. You eventually learn the history between why their families are feuding. We don't care. I will say though, I will give credit where credit's due. From what I remember, although I don't remember the exact reason, I'm pretty sure it was a valid reason for like one family to hate the other. I don't think it was like a fair or any of that. But I'm pretty sure it was something like made somebody lose their job or lose their career or
Oh.
something. And has held spite ever since. So it was a valid reason, and there is a section of like both of them being like, hey, your parents actually did do some fucked up shit. Like, I can't just ask my parents to forgive yours. And the other boy is like, I don't need them to forgive each other as long as you forgive me, and like beautiful, all that jazz.
Yeah.
Um, there's also a section where like they go out to like together on vacation when they're like fully established couple, and basically the way that the show ends is they go out, have this beautiful vacation moment like on the beach with the two of them. There's beautiful written dialogue and like dramatic scenes, genuinely being like, we have, you know, like however many more years of university, we are only out to our friend groups, because if anybody else knows, it'll go back to our parents.
Mhm.
So like we can't do PDA type territory. We can only, do hold hands and like kiss each other and shit in closed doors. We can't go
Mhm.
on dates. We can't go get food. We can't even call each other boyfriends, like even at school, because those bitches know our parents. Um,
Yeah.
and we have to pretend we hate each other because we can't even be friends according to our parents. So it's not just dating. Like if at the schools, they still have to stay like separated friend groups. It's only like when they all go
Is
to like an apartment to hang out.
Have you seen did you ever watch Teen Titans Go?
Fuck yeah, I did.
Not the good one.
Yep, the bad one,
The
I know.
like the bad one.
Uh-huh.
This is like fuck. Cyborg and Jinx.
Yes. Yes. Literally is what it is, but gay. Um
Okay.
so basically the ending stuff is them being like, we love each other, but we're not doing this for 4 or 5, however many more years we have. And then one of them is like a year or two ahead. So he's gonna be out and in working, and which is Ohm. And they're like, what happens when you have to go to work and I'm at school and we don't see each other every day, let alone can't go out to dinners and can't do this or that, and et cetera, et cetera. And so there's a beautiful, like, all that conversation happens and they cry and all this shit. And there's this like cliffhanger moment, because this is like second to last episode, where they're essentially like, um they do the whole like, if you love something, let it go. And so they
Mhm.
like do the thing where we're like, okay, we're gonna break up type of territory. Um and that's sort of the established thing, and the audience is like crying. We as the audience were like, no, this can't end sad. This is supposed to be our happy love BL. It is like they've gone through so much, and all their friends know, and all their friends like each other now, and like so all this jazz. Um and so that's the second last episode. And the last episode fucking, I want to say clickbait, I don't know what the word is, fucking teases you for the whole first half, because it's a reunion of like after after like both of them are graduated and shit. And you're like, "Oh my god, don't tell me they're coming back like 15 years later and they never got back together. I'm going to fucking cry my eyes out," because that's the way it makes it seem. And then it goes, does some like cheeky thing where it's like, let us tell you what happened. And then there's this beautiful like resolution where it's like, nah, bitch, they never broke up. They just dated in secret for the next like 10 years.
Damn.
um and all of the friend group was like, they would, it's so fun because there's scenes of like the friend group being like friends, and then anytime someone would come by, they'd be like, "Oh, I fucking hate you. Oh, I fucking," and then another person would leave. They go, "Oh man, I fucking love you." Like, and they would like do like secret shit to like get them to pass each other notes and stuff. Or one would like go to like a friend of Ohm's, or like go to Nano and be like, outside bleachers 10 minutes, and it's like, so it's beautiful,
Damn.
literally. So while unfortunate that there had to be in secret for like however many years until they're adults or whatever the fuck it is, it was great because we were like, oh, they didn't break up, thank God.
Oh my
And
god.
literally, and another big trope with BLs, especially Sodus era and before, was there was always, always, always once they were in a relationship, once the couple had gotten together on any whatever, not whether it's official or not, once they knew each other, liked each other, and to some extent were like, okay, we kind of want to get together, whether we are official or not, there's always, from So to Sarah and before, one like a jealousy arc. There's always an arc of, which I hate with every fiber of my being, the I accidentally walked like turned the corner as
Oh, like miscommunication leads to
yes.
jealousy.
Yes, where they think that their partner is like talking to some other dude, right?
Mhm.
And like romantically involved with them and cheating on them. There's always a miscommunication cheating arc. I fucking hate that shit. And it was huge in Sodas's time. Bad Buddy didn't do that shit. Bad Buddy didn't do that shit once.
Huzzah.
And everybody was like, "Oh my god, we can just have two boys." And anytime there was like another boy who was hot and would do like flirting, they would all when the two leads would meet up, they'd be like, "Yeah, that boy was hot." Like, and the other lead would be like, "Yeah, he was hot." Like, which is how actual gays act. Let me just tell you, all right? Anybody, if you are ever in a relationship with somebody else who likes the same gender as you, that is what happens. Is you both go, "Yeah, they were hot." Like,
That's what me and my husband do. We'll go, "Hmm?" And then you go,
exactly.
"Mhm."
Exactly. So they would do that, and then there's a whole arc where when they do have some sort of like fight that happens, I don't even remember what it's about, but it's not about that, which is like brilliant. They have some fight about something else. Nanon goes away to like help work with like this kids camp or whatever. Ohm follows this bitch into like the Thai wilderness. I'm talking there aren't cars type of. He follows this bitch into the Thai wilderness camp that Nanon has gone to. And Nanon is like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" And Ohm was like, "Bitch, you are never leaving me." Like, which
Hmm.
to us sounds crazy, to us sounds bad, and I recognize that, but in a BL, that's a love letter. That's a good thing. In a BL, that we want. So that is like the good thing, because in their culture, the concept is it is better for you to pursue the person and explain and talk than it is for you to like be like, "Fine, I guess we're done" type of territory.
Yeah.
Whether you agree with that stance or not is
Talk that
fully
shit out,
right.
but that rather than leave immediately.
Yes. Now, again, in this culture, in this genre, it is definitely like I could see someone watching it, and if you are not somebody who likes their boundaries pushed, you will hate this genre, BL in general. Because again, BL, when I say one of them is like flirty and open and stuff, and the other one is very like fucking stop that. Um, it is very pushy. Like there is no way to sugarcoat the concept that it's not just like, "Oh, a little slight joke that no one will catch." It's very like, "Don't touch me." Okay, picks person up and carries them. And while the person is
Mhm.
going, "Don't fucking touch me, put me the fuck down." So if that's not your shit, it's never, I would not use the term aggressive. It is never portrayed in a negative light. Like there's never any bad music, there's never any like repercussions in the sense of like the love interest that they're pushing and pushing and pushing is never like there's always a scene where at the end of a push scene they like smile and giggle or something. But if you are somebody who is not comfortable with like a no essentially being ignored, um BL I absolutely could see people being upset by some of that stuff because that is a huge trope even to this day. I personally like it, but we all know I'm a freak. Um, an asexual freak. Um, but there is like BL is very much a genre that treats it as like I'll explain it more when we get to the sign, but basically the concept of like even physically one of the partners like forcing a kiss and the other partner like pushing them off and going fuck off, like that is seen as positive in a relationship, to also the two involved in that scenario. So it's a cultural thing of like that sort of like one is all lovey-dovey over the other when the other doesn't want it. In a Western sense, we see that as like, whoa, she said no, buddy. Like, what the hell are you doing? But as a culture, that is something that is just how relationships are. Like, that's a positive thing in Thailand. So yeah, there is that culture difference. Just fair warning in case anybody wants to watch. But I will show you my lock screen, and then we'll end the first half of the BL romance talk here. This is the
Alright.
picture that is my lock screen. Which I really like this picture because this is Ohm on the right and Nanon on the left. And Ohms are like playboy, are pushy, are flirty, are happy. Whereas Nanon is the one that's like, you know, the emotional, like the this is bad type of territory. But this is a scene when they are like officially together, even though it's secret from their parents, etc. But like officially together, essentially happy, at least to themselves and to their own personal boundaries. And it's very rare for the standoffish, like don't touch me, don't make those jokes, you're being dumb character, which in this case is Nanon on the left. It's very, very rare for them to get scenes where they get the opportunity to be like happy in quotes, to be like outwardly ecstatic. And also other countries, especially Asian countries, do not perform as physically expressive as Western and especially American performers do. Like, that's one of the troubles I have with the current show I'm watching is the guy who's playing the standoffish one. I swear to God, what he thinks is smiling isn't fucking smiling. So some of his scenes drive me crazy because you're clearly supposed to be like, oh, this is the moment you giggle because you found that cute. And I'm like, fucking show a smile on your face. Nanon is a fucking brilliant actor. And I really love this picture because it's both of them. Like, they look genuinely happy. And I love them. And they're very cute, and Nanon's a fantastic actor, and we love this boy with all our heart and soul. I love them both, but we love Nanon in particular. It's okay, he'll never hear this. It's fine. Yeah, these are my boys. Bad Buddy's my favorite. I barely remember what happened. All I know is I fucking loved it. Okay, I guess that's where I'll end it before I keep going on my rant. I technically have like one more show to talk about, but we're also going to talk about some more like sensual or sexual aspects on the Patreon one. So if you want to get more into the bajingle jangles,
down and dirty with, you
down
know.
and nerdy, then subscribe to the Patreon. You can listen to us talk about that shit. In reference to everything, but also in reference to gay boys. And some gay girls, because gay girls go harder than the gay boys.
Most definitely.
They do. All right, so that's everything. Gal, do you have anything you want to say before I close this out?
Be gay, don't do crime.
Perfection. I love it. All right, y'all. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.